What's going on, friends? Welcome back to another New World video. Today we're going to be watching a developer update video for April 2025. My understanding is this is going to be about Season 8 in New World. The last time we got one of these for Season 7, it was a little bit underwhelming in my opinion. Not a whole lot of content here for Season 7, but we do have some pretty exciting things here over on the right that are in development, which I assume we're then going to see in Season 8. This season is called the Season of Divide, which I believe is to do with the new Outpost Rush map, the Coral Divide, but they do also mention that there is something Expeditions Unleashed, Faction Fest, updates to combat, artifacts, PvP, and more. I feel like some hype is very much needed in New World as it currently stands right now. The game's feeling kind of stale, so let's hope they've got some exciting stuff to deliver here in this latest developer update video. If you want to find a link to the video, I'll put it in the description down below. With that being said, let's jump in. Let's see what they have to say. But first, a quick word from this video's sponsor. Opera GX is a gaming browser like no other. Now, sometimes people say, well, why didn't Frodo and Sam just get on an eagle and fly to Mordor? And you know why? It would have been boring. And that is the opposite of what Opera GX is. With features like the GX mod system, the amount of customization you have in this browser is insane. All you have to do is navigate to the sidebar, click on the mods option, and visit the mod store. From here, you can mix and match multiple mods and components to create your own unique style, with customization over things like background music, keyboard sounds, opening and closing tabs, custom UI font, and way more. Another fantastical feature of Opera GX is their video pop-out option, which allows you to create a separate windowed version of whatever video you're watching and have it follow you across every tab that you have open. On top of this, Opera GX also comes with a built-in ad blocker, so you can eliminate distracting ads without them interrupting your adventures. Now, one reason you may have for not installing Opera GX is the concern that all of your settings from your previous browser will be lost, like your bookmarks, your cookies, and your browsing history. Well, fear not, because once again, Opera GX has you covered with their easy, quick import option. You can use this during setup or simply navigate to the sidebar, settings, and then scroll down to synchronization, and you can import your bookmarks and settings anytime you have the browser open. So if you're ready to level up and leave the boring starter area that is your current browser, make sure to download Opera GX using my link in the description down below. Thank you very much to Opera GX for sponsoring this video.
Hey everybody, and welcome to the April Dev Update. My name is Katie, and I'll be running us through our new season and all the exciting stuff we have to bring you. Here with me today, I have JR, Dan, Tracy, Joel, and Chad. And today we're going to be talking about mainly Season of the Divide. So let's kick things off.
Yes.
You're kicking the season off actually with Coral Divide.
That's right.
Which players just finished playing in live and helping us test out.
Yeah, it's almost like we named the season after the map.
Oh, I get it.
See, I feel like that's already, I'm a little bit nervous because the map is fun, but if the whole season is just the map, then it's not really a whole lot of content. So hopefully there's more. I know there will be more, right, Shirley? The new Outpost Rush map is cool. I don't know if I've made a video on it yet. It's a lot better than the old map, but it goes to say, without saying, that we do need more than just one map for a season.
Yeah.
I love that.
So players have been playing Coral Divide. That we did a preview in February, and then we just finished up the preview in April. Starting in Season 8, the map's going to be fully out, fully released, and the plan is to run that map for a period of time before we start like a rotation with the old map.
I agree with that.
Definitely look forward to that. Look forward to having full access to the map come Season 8.
Yeah, that's great info. I know that players are looking forward to having that new OPR map being playable every day.
Actually,
so that's
in the
great.
game.
We also have at the start of the season one of our seasonal events, Springtide Bloom, and we have the return of other seasonal events. Joel, if you want to.
Yeah, so Springtide Bloom is going to have upgraded patterns with higher gear score. Springin is also going to have upgraded loot, so it's going to be much more meaningful. There will be above gear score 700 loot for players to get to kind of feel like they can catch up and participate in some of our pinnacle in-game content in those. So we look forward to bringing that back out for some of the players. I don't believe console players have actually experienced Springtide either.
Yeah, this is the return of those events for PC players and the first time that our console players will be experiencing these events. So
See, I like the Springtide Bloom because it gives you the chromatic seal, which is a really important upgrade for like endgame upgrade material. The other events, I don't really care too much, but if it's above 700 gear score, it might be worth looking at. In general, I just feel like for me as a PC player, I've been playing the game for 3.5 years now. A lot of the events are recycled, and they just kind of feel the same as they do last time. So it's hard for me to get excited about the same event when it's, it's being brought back for the 3rd year. But maybe there's some meaningful changes, or at least, if the rewards are good enough, that would be cool.
Super exciting. And then along those same lines where we have these in-game world events, we have something new with this next season, which we're calling Expeditions Unleashed.
New content.
Chad.
Yeah, so Expeditions Unleashed is a selection of expedition bosses that we've taken, leveled them up, scaled them up, and basically injected them into the open world. So lots of players can show up together, 10, 20, 30, however many more, and fight them in huge numbers. We've adjusted their abilities to make them more appropriate for the open world and for lots of fighting lots of players. It should be a lot of fun.
That's awesome. And then there's rewards.
See, the problem with world bosses in New World, in my opinion, is the more people you bring, the easier they get. There's no scaling. So if you have like 4 people, it's really challenging. If you have 400 people, it's trivial. It also gets kind of laggy when you have that many people. So I just feel like world bosses so far in New World have kind of been a bit meh. Just my opinion, but yeah, so a whole event around that, I'm not too excited. We'll wait and play it though. We'll play it before we make too much judgment.
Associated with this, I'm assuming. So.
Of course.
Yep. So there is a 725 up-leveled item, one for each boss that you'll be able to get each time they show up. And then there's 710 items across the board of all of their existing loot that will also be leveled up. So there'll be some fun stuff that you can kind of get that's kind of from the past brought up to current standards.
725 is the max right now for anybody not super familiar.
And I know that, this is something
Max
where players have been wanting this for a while. This is one of those things that they've talked about where they're like, we want to do things in the open world with our friends. We've seen some of these events that you have. We want more of that, but we want it to be, different, and we want this to be an exciting thing for us to do, like kind of on a daily grind. And so this is definitely something that I think fulfills that and gives them a rotation of different bosses that they've seen in our expeditions, but these are not bosses that you've seen in the open world before. So that's pretty cool.
Captain
and then
Phillip,
is this something, Tracy, is this something
fun.
that is happening all season? Is this something that is just for a limited time? Like what can players expect?
These bosses are going to appear in the world for a week every month, and it'll be a different boss each time all season. So look forward to it.
Cool. And this is just the season 8 thing?
No, this will be for all seasons going forward.
Oh, so that's part of the divide is now we're having things divided from just being seasonal and now can be continued forever. I love that. And another interesting new event that we have coming to Aeternum is Faction Fest. Tracy, that's something that you've been working on. Want to tell us about it?
Yeah, absolutely. So we have a new event coming for the community. It's a fun little competition for players in each faction. We wanted to motivate them to check out expeditions, so we have a new set of rewards for this event specific to expeditions. We'll give you guys more details later.
Love new rewards.
Okay.
And it's a new season, and we haven't talked about the seasonal server. Some of that is because we're doing things a little bit different. So we talked about how Coral Divide and the events are going to kind of kick things off. With the Season of the Divide, we want to give the Coral Divide OPR map its time to shine in the sun. And the seasonal server will actually start later in the season. But we do want to talk about it. So Joel, what's going on with that?
Absolutely. So seasonal servers are very much always going to be an experimental place for us to kind of try new ideas, flip New World on its head in certain ways. This one is our twist on what a typical hardcore mode would be for other MMOs.
Permadeath?
It's heavy focused on challenging the player's knowledge, putting them in a situation where we don't want them to die. The best rewards on this server that you'll be able to get will be things like beating the Gorgon raid, beating the Sandworm, beating mutated dungeons without dying. However, in this one, dying doesn't necessarily mean your character's gone. What it means is that for those other players that maybe have never even experienced this content before, we're going to give those characters a massive buff. They're going to get a bunch of attributes every time they die, up to, I think, like 125 across all stats. So you're going to be able to build your character in different ways. You're going to be able to hit different breakpoints on the attribute bar. You're also going to be able to equip artifacts across the board in every slot. So 2 weapons, 5
Okay.
armor pieces, 3 jewelry pieces.
That sounds fun.
And then on top of that, and that's everybody, death or not. So the people that are unfallen that have never died will be able to try the raid that way. And then on top of that, there's a couple things, like obviously, I know there's some fatigue with MSQ. We don't necessarily want people to go through that, so we've made more of a quest line that's a tutorial for the server.
Nice.
The goal being is that this server is more of like a weekend event. You and your friends should be able to take about 2 or 3 sessions and get to the end game in that time frame. Something 4 or 6 hours, somewhere in there, depending on your knowledge. Faster if you're really good and you know how to min-max to get to that in-game content. There's a lot of crafting. You can build your own in-game gear, but we let you craft specific gear throughout. We give you a lot of the content that you need, access to Elysian Wilds, the Azoth staff, all of those things we start to give you through this quest chain as a tutorialization.
Nice.
And it's more about testing your knowledge at that point. And then the other side is rewards and making sure that players take something out. We're going to be giving a crafting material that allows players on their prime characters, their main world servers, to craft an artifact from season 7 and before of their choice. You want Serenity, you don't want to do PvP, here's your way to get it. So there's some really good stuff you'll be able to pull out, not just cosmetics, but actually things that you might seek, such as tier 3 trophies as well, to your prime characters. And we'll have more information on that soon.
Yeah, and you.
Hey, dude, as could be said, I mean, a lot of people, so just to bring this all, like, in case anybody wants to be brought up to speed, seasonal servers are basically temporary servers. So for the duration of the season, like 3 or 4 months, you have a server with a special set of rules, and then it goes away at the end of the season. Season 7's special server was PvP always on, and it was fun for like 2 days, and then it very quickly sort of died out because you had to do the whole main storyline again. You could grind out the Azoth staff, you have to unlock the Elysian Wilds, get all the artifacts. So it sounds like they're really condensing it down this time, and it's more going to be a side thing rather than the main thing to do in the season. Because for season 7, it felt like the main feature was on the seasonal server. This is more going to be like a side thing to do. And it sounds like they've addressed a lot of the issues, you know? We can get straight to the Elysian Wilds. Having all the artifacts sounds kind of cool. I'm a bit confused what they mean by if you die, you get stronger. But so you're trying to not die, but if you do die, you're rewarded for dying. I don't fully understand that. Maybe they'll explain a little bit later on. But generally, it sounds like they listened to feedback and they've made some improvements. So cool, kind of awesome. I want to play it though, just to really make a proper opinion, but we'll see.
Called out something like, not only are we starting that seasonal server a little bit later in the season, we're also running it for a limited time. Because it is something where players will be able to go through the quest line, go through all of the different activities.
It's more of an event, really, then.
Pretty quickly. You can take your time with it if you want, so I'm not telling you have to do it in a weekend, but it's not going to take too much time, right?
It's very much an event. It's very much a vacation. It's a place for you to dip your toes in and try something different, or potentially get someone else that's unfamiliar with the game in there with you and try it out.
Yeah, and that hits on one of, I think, the concerns that some people had from the last seasonal server, which was the bifurcation of the players, right? So people were joining the seasonal server in this last season and staying on it for quite some time.
Yes.
I mean, some people made that their main for the time being. And this gets them their time playing on the seasonal server and having a lot of fun, trying to stay unfallen.
It's very much scheduled like the rest of the events, like the PTR maps, or excuse me, not the PTR maps, the preview maps. It's very much to fit in as a grouping of content instead
basically
of
PTR
something
now.
that is on top of those things.
Should also mention for the bifurcation, right, that this particular seasonal server, you won't be able to join cross-world matchmaking, right?
Yep. We do not want players with 125 attributes across the board and artifacts smashing other OPR players. That is absolutely correct. Thank you.
Yeah, so this is probably something where we would expect players to spend some time on this server and go back, play their main to do their dailies, and then come back over to the seasonal server to finish up.
But also feel like you're making rewards and cosmetics for your prime characters and feeling like your time is valued and that it persists long term. And we will continue to look at those things for
seasonal servers. Sounds like a good approach.
Do you keep your character from the seasonal server
No,
this
you
time?
do not keep the character this time, especially now with all that power and artifacts. No, but the rewards you will.
Interesting.
That's awesome.
Okay.
So next up, and we kind of hit on this a little bit where we were talking about preview weekends, we have more preview weekends.
That's true.
A lot more.
We have a lot coming up. Yeah.
I'm not sure how I feel about
And this is a great time to announce that the next, Yeah, drum roll, please. Thank you. So yeah, I'm pleased to announce our next game mode is Capture the Flag. And
Yes.
we will be previewing this in not one but two previews.
What?
With two different maps. Yes.
Two maps.
Two maps.
Two maps,
Yeah. Can you believe it? Yeah, we've been working hard on
Let's
this.
see this. That's great, Cleve.
And we were having so much fun with like one map. We were like, so we actually, this is similar to how we did the last OPR map for Coral Divide. We started with a lot of gray box maps, right, and like kind of narrowed it down. And then we got two maps that we were feeling good about, and we're just like,
Edmund
let's
Scale
just
Reach.
see if we can do both, and we did.
And I feel like internally we're all split because we all have a favorite. And there's nobody that's like, yeah, like I love both of them the same. There's always one that you're like, I kind of prefer this one because those two maps have very different like strategies associated with them.
Yeah, for sure. Yeah, so the first one is it's a pretty simple map. It's like this 2-tier bridge, very straightforward. We feel like this is the best map to like introduce the game mode and get people used to it. So our version of CTF, it's two flags and then two teams. Obviously, you take the flag, you have to return it. You have to defend your flag at the same time to score.
Like in World of Warcraft.
And so there's so it's part defense, part attack, and there's definitely coordination. It's a 10v10 mode, I should mention.
10v10, okay,
which
cool.
is our first game mode of that size. So that should create a different dynamic in itself. We also added two new gameplay mechanics to this mode. We have jump pads,
My favorite.
which are super cool. Our flavor of jump pad is a little different than maybe what you've seen in some other games, because they actually let you control, which we felt like gives you more strategy. It also gives you more like agency in like when you use them, like because you can run over them without activating them, which is useful in our game since you're constantly repositioning for combat. Sometimes we actually did test a version where they were automatic and it didn't go so well. Like they were just automatically triggering, you'd like back into them. And so yeah, we decided we liked the manual trigger better, and that's what we went with. Yeah, to go back to the other mechanic is power-ups. So we also added, we have like a health, a haste, and
like
an attack
Mario Kart
power-up.
now, what?
And they respawn on a timer and just add a little more tactics to the map and like, strategy. And yeah, so the second map it's a much wider map. We actually call it wide. That was like the code name for it.
Creative.
But yeah, it's very
creative.
We're super creative with our naming. Yeah, so like it has like this straight shot to the other flag, but it's like kind of out in the open. You're like, it's super risky to just like run the flag back that way. But there's a lot more going on the sides of the map. So the intention is that there's more routes to kind of use to like weave in and out of the different like obstacles.
It feels a bit
things.
more like Coral Divide with choke points. And
Exactly.
Yeah, absolutely. I think that it's going to be interesting when we see the outcome of how players use it on those weekends. But we have even more than just...
So I'm excited for this, like new content, like actual new content and new PvP game modes, something we've needed for a long time. The only bummer is like the preview. It just... my experience with the Outpost Rush map is I really enjoyed it, and then it went away, and it felt like hollow, It's like, oh man, I missed that thing that we had. We only get to try the content, and then they take it away. And my experience, again, with the last time they did this, with the Outpost Rush map, is it doesn't really feel like a whole lot of changes were made between when it was first added into the game and then when it came back the second time. I didn't really notice that much happening. In fact, there was even still like floating grass and stuff. Like 10 weeks had passed between the map being available for a preview, getting some feedback, and then they bring it back in, and they still bring it back in with some issues. It was like, felt a little bit lazy. So I don't know if this is just like a way of them like stretching out the content or if this genuinely helps them as developers, but I feel like I'm gonna lean more to the former, again, just based on like the floating grass from the old map. So yeah, that's my only negative. I'm very hyped for new content, but just dragging it out like this, only getting like a weekend with the content as opposed to just having it permanently in the game, that's my only yeah, I'm a little bit not too happy about it.
Capture the flag, right?
Mm-hmm. We do, yeah. So we also have another arena map. So the last arena map we added was in season 2.
Is this a preview?
The Brimstone Sands arena. And the third one is set in this kind of like ancient temple, like it's like an overgrown temple. What's interesting about this map is it's our largest arena that we've done thus far, but we did something a little different this time where the death fog ring closes in much sooner, and just like slower, like it still ends at the same time as a regular arena, but because it starts sooner, the arena starts to close in. And the tactics change, right? Like so at the beginning, the range has more of an advantage, right?
I was gonna say,
more mobility. They can
there's so many things you can get stuck on as a melee player.
Like as the match progresses, that quickly goes away, and then melee becomes the winning tactic.
Yeah, super interesting. And
Bust
then
them down.
the last one.
Last but not least, take it away, Joe.
I'm going to say this one too. Okay, guys, it's my show. So we also have another version of Outpost Rush that is kind of an experiment we're running. This is called Outpost Rush Bare Bones. And the premise here is that in this version of Outpost Rush, you will have all of your the perks on your gear will be deactivated. Okay, so the idea here is that it's a completely level playing field. Players who maybe have bounced off of PvP because they thought their gear wasn't good enough, they can hop into this mode and compete just like everyone else, just like people who have thousands of hours in the game, right? Meanwhile, maybe people who have thousands of hours in the game and have like super good gear, and maybe people are saying, oh yeah, your gear's good, that's why you're so good, right? It has nothing to do with your skill. They can jump in here and kind of prove like, no, say like, I'm not good. Like, it's not just my gear.
So all of this is to give folks the opportunity to play Outpost Rush who have been concerned that their gear is a limiting factor. And then the other side of that coin is that you can prove that your gear is not the only reason why you're so good at Outpost Rush.
Yeah, and we're actually...
It's not really new content. It's more of just taking stuff away from existing content. But hey, I'm not going to hate on it. I see what they're trying to do. And I think there's probably some people watching, some New World players who would like appreciate that, more of an even playing ground.
We're going to run, with that preview, we're going to run it in parallel with regular Outpost Rush because we kind of want to see what people think, and see if this is resonating with people. So that's why I said it's kind of an experiment.
Yeah. Well, and along with that, to make this change possible, there's been some work done on the activity screen so that we can more easily do mode variants like this, right?
Yeah, that's true. Definitely a big concern on the modes team is that as we add more modes, more maps, we'll actually we talked about bifurcating the audience. That's definitely a concern with modes, right?
Yeah, so people in so many different
we're trying to control that by, for one thing, doing these previews, we wouldn't have everything active at the same time, right? So CTF would occupy the same slot as bare bones mode. So we would basically be rotating modes in and out. And over time, what we might find is as we introduce new modes, if a new mode really takes off, it's super popular like CTF, that might actually get a permanent slot, and then maybe a less popular mode might move to the rotation. But we're going to be kind of measuring the queue lengths and just the engagement for the different modes to kind of make.
It's one of the sad states. New World doesn't have a whole lot of players right now, and unless the player count goes back up, you only have 4,000 players, or let's say you have 5,000 players online, but only 1,000 of them want to do a PvP activity, and then you split them into a bunch of different queues across a bunch of different regions, and they can't have too many different queues at the same time, sadly. So they have to rotate out Outpost Rush while capture the flags here. It sucks, but it's this situation where the player numbers aren't too high.
Absolutely. The engagement, we have in-game metrics, and then as players, we'll have more information on all of this and specific dates and the timelines as we get closer to them. But as with everything, please join the Discord. There will be specific channels set up specifically for feedback on these different preview weekends. And so we love to hear from you. Get your feedback on each different preview that we have. And then obviously in game, you can always do the submit feedback feature. We do get that as well. Just make sure to call out whichever map it is that you did that you want to give us the feedback on. So we really appreciate that. And we're going to be looking very closely at what players are doing and what they're saying. So that's enough of you talking, JR.
Okay, I'm done.
enough of that. So let's totally switch gears here and talk about something that is another thing that players have been talking about for quite some time, and that's barbershop.
Yeah,
Here
that's
we
me.
go.
So we are going to allow you to purchase a barbershop token in the in-game store with Marks of Fortune, and you will be able to customize your character. There's characters on PC that have been around a long time that don't necessarily get the chance to use some of the new customization we added in Aeternum. This is a great time to update your characters, change your look. Maybe you really wanted that new hairstyle. Now's your chance. And
It's gonna pay some money for it. I mean, it was always gonna be a paid feature, but it would be nice, I guess, if they give legacy players who didn't have the option, like one free token or something. Hey, maybe they'll do that.
that will be available in Season 8, right at the beginning.
Yeah, and
Reroll
you
your
know, some
character's
of
appearance.
us want to take the characters that we created on our consoles, and we still want to update those ones, even though they're new, because that's part of our playstyle. Is updating once we get a new skin. We're like, well, this hair color is not really working anymore.
I wonder how much they're gonna charge for it. What do you guys think
So
is a
yeah,
reasonable
so super
price?
excited for that coming out. The next one that we have is new
storage?
artifacts. So I gave you a slight break in talking, JR. Very,
My turn
very
again.
minimal, but it is your turn again.
Yes.
We have quite a few coming out with
Yeah.
the season of the
So
Divide.
yeah, we have seven new artifacts coming, and I can't list them all off the top of my head, but there was one in particular that seemed pretty cool to me. It's this new blunderbuss called Chaos, and it does like these explosive rounds that knock back people. So actually, it would probably be pretty useful in CTF, I imagine. So yeah.
More falling.
Blunderbuss supposed to be up close though.
To be
but,
honest, it would have
yeah.
been great if we didn't have
sounds
the manual jump pads, because you can
Oh
knock
yeah,
somebody
because then you
back
could knock people
onto
into the jump pad and then like launch them out of the map. Yeah, that'd be super fun.
We'll do a mode variant
How
someday
dare you
with
not
auto
let
jump
me do
pads.
that? Well, that's awesome. And then while we're on that subject of weapons and combat and all that good stuff, we also have combat updates happening.
Aim lock?
And I think there's some that
Nerf?
Dan, you're also
Removed?
pretty interested in for this season.
Sure. Yeah, there's a few things here. The first one being we're having some changes made to target lock.
Okay, good.
I'm just going to keep piling on
Remove
JR
it?
because it's kind of funny to me at this point. JR,
Yeah.
we've done a couple things to target lock.
Yeah.
What were they again?
Well, first I want to talk about the reasoning. So, like for making target lock adjustments. Okay, so our game is very skill based, right? Like combat is kind of the core of the game, and that being heavily skill based, right? So when we made the move to console, we added target lock primarily as a feature to help controller players compete against mouse and keyboard players, right? To effectively for the aim assistance, right? But we also have an aim assist in addition to that, right?
Yeah.
An aim assist is for manual aiming primarily, right? To help guide the missiles, guide your projectiles, help you get hits, to account for the lack of accuracy. So when these two things are combined, it turns out that they're very powerful. And
Turns out.
Yeah, it turns out.
We wanted to err on the side of making sure that controller wouldn't be a barrier.
Yeah.
Yeah, exactly. Yeah, so what we've done in Season 8 is we've reduced the power of aim assist inside of target lock, because you have target lock's helping you aim, but it's not gonna be like 100% you're gonna hit everything, right? Especially for moving targets. It's still gonna be useful in certain situations when
See, I feel like you keep the aim assist and you remove the aim lock, but it's like every change they want to make, they really want to keep aim lock in the game, and then they have to change so many things. It's just like, I feel like this whole problem was introduced with aim lock, and I don't know, is the data showing them that is controller a barrier? I don't think it is. Having played New World with a controller, would I prefer to play with mouse and keyboard? Yes, but that's my native thing. That's what I play with. If you are a controller player, you're probably pretty comfortable with a controller. I don't know. I'm still of the opinion that aim lock just doesn't need to be in the game, but they keep working really hard to find it. They give themselves extra work so they can keep it in the game, and I personally just think it's a bit dumb. Again, it's just my opinion. I know people in the comments might disagree, but there you go.
your target stationary, which is not often in PvP, but still in PvE it's going to be pretty much as useful as it was before. But in PvP specifically, you're going to find that when your target's moving, you're not going to lead the target as much if you're using target lock. But we also kind of adjusted aim assist to account for this. So controller players will learn quickly, I think, to stop relying as much on target lock for ranged combat, and they will selectively unlock and then just try to like manually aim. And they'll find that they're more successful at that than they were, in previous seasons. We've also made some changes to kind of like add some more counterplay to target lock, and this applies to melee and ranged. Is in the current iteration of target lock, it's very sticky, and there's no real way to break someone's lock. Like you can try to like outplay them, but they will just like basically keep their lock, even you dodge through them, But so that's something we actually just changed. Is now it will break your lock if basically your target like moves too far behind your camera, it will just break the lock. And that also fixes an issue we had with like abilities like burnout that have a lot of traversal to them.
Yep.
It no longer like tries to
Follows
spin
you,
around
yeah.
and go back to them.
Yeah.
So it'll break the lock. So it's actually beneficial in many ways, and also kind of adds more counterplay. You can actually like kind of try to outsmart people that are target locked onto you. And then lastly, we also added, now when you go into aim down sights, it just automatically breaks target lock. That was something that we kept in there initially because we didn't want to like disrupt like the melee flow, which has some ADS abilities. But it turns out that we could do it with just the ranged weapons, so that's kind of what we did. So now like musket and bow, blunderbuss, they'll just immediately break target lock as soon as you go into ADS, which
Cool.
feels good.
And we didn't go too far into just removing it entirely because we want to see incrementally like how well this improves combat and how well this balances things as we go, because it is a very delicate balance.
Yeah, for sure. And it is still a useful tool. Like having the way I see target lock is it's just another tool in your tool belt. It shouldn't be the only tool though. And I think that's where we kind of went too hard on it. It was too good.
Yeah, our goal was always to make it be like primarily a tool for melee, and it should be something like everybody kind of figured out what we wanted to do. Like if you wanted to lead a target, you should not use target lock. So we're zeroing in on where that needs to be, right?
Right.
Yeah, we could have a whole episode on aim assist and target lock,
Yeah.
but I think we covered it pretty well in this one. We're also going to have more weapon balance updates. That's coming in. I know that you've been listening to some of the players. We've been doing our own testing. So there's some of those changes going in. And then are we making any changes to tents?
It's funny you mentioned that. I should talk about tents now, right?
That was a very natural segue.
Yeah.
I just sometimes like to talk about tents.
Just tents in
you
general.
guys. Can someone talk about that?
Yes. So this was something that actually, I guess we had been talking about this for like years, and we finally just went ahead and did it. This is like, it makes a big difference in influence races, but basically,
You can destroy
now if you're
tents?
PvP flagged and you place a tent, it is now destructible.
Oh, thank God, dude. It
Enemy
only took him
factions
3
can
years.
destroy that tent. Your same faction can bind to that tent as well. So we wanted to make more counterplay
Yeah,
to
'cause you just know people just
the placement of
respawning
spawn
that.
points in specifically for influence races. That's where it's really going to make a big impact, right? So now, like if you're fighting over a tower and they just like the other team just keeps respawning, you might be they keep coming from that direction. I'm going to go search over there. And there's still some like strategy in like trying to like hide them. You can hide them in like bushes and things. But yeah, like you'll be able to now stop them from respawning there and make them have to go back to the nearest shrine instead.
I mean, that's a nice change. I don't know why it took them 3+ years to do it, but hey, it is a good change, I guess.
That's right.
Tents.
Tense.
Yeah, I think it's going to be like it's not a huge difference, but I think that it adds just a slight, like again, incremental like change to the way that players have been playing. That they gotta, now create a little side strategy to address that somebody can take down their tents. So I don't know. I think it's going to be interesting and pretty cool.
It's foundation for us to be more aggressive on the respawn cooldown for shrines, which will probably be the next big thing that we'll see.
Yeah.
Yes.
And there was another thing on there too, right?
Is it me?
It is you. This is another one that players have been talking about for a little bit, and that is an arena ready up and spectator can.
Yeah. So
Spectator.
so for ready up, Like we know, especially for arenas. So arenas, it's a fast mode. Often you're not changing your loadout. You just want to get in and go. So now there's a ready up feature. For arenas, it's everyone that has to opt in. So because it's only 3v3, if one person isn't ready, it makes a big difference. But we also added it to OPR. In OPR, it's like 25 people have to be ready for it to go. And these numbers are tweakable, so we definitely are interested in how that goes and how that feels. But yeah, you'll be able to skip right to skip the whole pre-match phase if enough people opt in.
Yeah, which we had tried in a public test realm a couple years ago. We had tried reducing the ready up time, and the reason why we didn't make this just in code a shorter time and why this change makes way more sense is because players were split. Some people really use that time to, hop into Discord, make plans with people, figure that out. They needed that time, and so they felt pretty strongly that we shouldn't reduce it across the board. So this is a really great compromise for the players that just want to get in and play and go, who already know what their strategy is going to be, or they're going in and there's no strategy involved,
right.
that they can just hop in and play, compromised with the people that do actually want to take that time.
Yeah, and hopefully they're not in the same match, and because then ready up would never happen. But
they will be. It's a good call out though.
I usually set my build. Yeah, once the queue pops,
there will be
then
times
I
that
change
ready up
things.
doesn't happen, and you might be sad if you're on the ready up side.
Yeah.
But you can just hit the button over and over again.
Yeah.
Yeah, because that works. That always works.
It makes it go faster.
Yeah.
Oh my gosh. And then we have
spectator cam is the other one.
Love this.
Arenas definitely another big feature, right? So now instead of like being in the bleachers, like squinting, trying to make out what's going on down there, you can be right there in the action, and you can be like cycling through, like spectating. Basically, it just attaches your camera to both your allies and enemies. Because in the case of arenas, like, it's not really going to give you much of an advantage. You can see everywhere what everyone is anyways.
Cool if they did this for wars.
Yeah, we also added it in expeditions. Chad, you want to talk about that one?
Yeah, so when you unfortunately die against a difficult boss, instead of staring at a wall, now you'll be able to go up to the door and be presented with a prompt and enter into spectator mode and be able to watch your remaining teammates struggle on without you. And hopefully progress to victory.
That's cool.
That's awesome.
It's a good change.
It's so great. We're going to be able to, well, hopefully we can put it in more places too, but this is a great starting point.
Yeah.
Yeah, for sure.
It feels good.
Yeah, we thought about adding it to CTF, but actually it's such a short respawn time that you'd almost not even see it. So it's, So we'll be evaluating like mode by mode, like where it makes sense.
Yeah.
Absolutely. And that's our deep dive into the coming season. And now we're going to be doing just a real quick review of our living roadmap.
Hey, so I'm excited for this. Really quickly though, I just want to say, now that we know what's in season 8, I'm feeling like it's not a lot. I mean, it sounded like that was a lot, but at the same time, May the 13th or May the 14th, I think that's when it is. What is actually going to be there that isn't currently in the game right now? Because it's all like preview and like sort of temporary stuff, right? We'll have the new artifacts. The seasonal server isn't coming till later on. The Capture the Flag previews, probably not until later on. The Outpush Rush game mode thing, that's not till later on. So yeah, it's just going to be the new artifacts, the Barber token, and the spectator stuff. So there's not actually really any new stuff. I don't know. It's all like being staggered throughout the season. I don't know. I feel like I'm immediately putting a dampener on the spirits, but it just doesn't seem like there's going to be a lot of content. Like, as soon as this season rolls around, the game isn't really going to feel that much different.
While I'm talking, there should be a great visual for everybody who's watching this.
There it is.
Here we go.
Yeah, it's right there.
All right, it's probably going to stay on the screen for a while. Let me take a look at this real quick. So, Outpush Rush map. All right, yeah, the Coral Divide, that's in there. Okay, so we do get to play the new Outpush Rush map. That's a permanent addition. Preview, rotating mode, so that'll be in temporarily. This is in later. This is in later. Yeah, so there's not like actually a lot of... The only content that's actually going to be there on the first day of the new update is Barbershop. Artifacts. There's new perks, I guess. Does that... I didn't even talk about new perks and the combat changes. What's in development? New zone? Oh, in development is a new zone. New raid is in development. A new weapon is in development. Outpost Rush Map 3, new PvP mode. Pickup Wars, Umbrals is in development. Customizable HUD, that's cool. Attributes saved with gear sets, that's big. New Heart Rune set bonuses, interesting, that wasn't there before. Raid difficulties, and then in exploration, so... Wait, new weapons, oh, I see. Company Hall with storage. I wish this was, like, in... I wish this would move into in development at Company Hall. I'd love to see that. New travel mechanics, all constant. Matchmaking, blah, blah, blah. Gardening and farming. Wait, didn't they do something with... Oh, here it is, with building. All right, I'm going to stop talking. Let them talk.
Here, you see it? We can't see any of it. So this, you'll notice we had presented this back in December to kick things off. What's coming in the next season, that's there for you. That's everything that you'll be getting that we've just talked through. Some of it we didn't touch on today. There will be more information coming up on the website as well as on social as we get closer to the date that the season goes live. There's also been changes to the in development and in exploration columns. So feel free to compare, what's moved. See what you're really excited about, what's missing that you were hoping was.
Oh, they moved account-wide progression. That was going to be over here, and now it's moved over to here, I think.
It's going to be on there. For me, and I think there would be a great exercise that we all just talk about the stuff that's really exciting to us. So for me, in development is the new weapon. And while I can't say what that is because we want to keep some things a surprise, I will say that sometimes you have to cheer with both hands.
I was so curious what you were going to say.
It's like a lightning double-fisted... Oh, two hands. It's a two-handed weapon. It's the dual daggers, maybe? It's the two-handed... Something that uses both hands, yeah. So it's dual-wielding something.
Anyway, I'm very excited about that. I'm super stoked for what the team's been working on. It's very exciting, and we've been playing around with that. Dan,
so the new weapon confirmed pom-poms.
Yay! Hey.
What am I excited about? I'm excited about catchy name still in development, procedural expeditions with extraction.
Yeah, really rolls off the tongue really well, you know.
It's a working title.
I think Tracy actually came up with that.
Yeah, definitely.
But it's we actually have been prototyping it. Chad's team is doing a fantastic job. We're prototyping it. It's again, I can't really share too much yet. It's I know the name is a little mysterious as to what it might be, but it plays great. It turns out that our expedition content. I think there's a few interesting things we've learned. For example, like we have a lot of enemy types that we've never really thrown at you in the same place in the same fight, and so like getting to kind of go through a crazy remix of all of the enemy content in the game, doing like exploring a procedural map, like it's a dungeon crawl experience that really fits in the game. I'm excited about it.
Effectively like infinite expeditions, right? That's like the.
Okay, that's enough.
That's the hope.
Is that too much? Okay.
I like that name. Maybe we should change that.
JR, before you get us all into trouble with marketing, what are you excited about?
I'm excited about our next game mode, which I can't talk about yet, but just know that it's coming and it's cool and that you'll love it. That's all.
And you'll be seeking...
What? Can I talk about other stuff?
Wait, no, stop.
Okay.
You'll be seeking the crown. Chad?
King of the Hill. King of the Hill.
I'm certainly excited for the new zone in development.
Yes.
So with the Legion Wilds, we were reworking an existing zone. We did a lot to it, but for this one, it is an entirely new part of the map, new zone,
Nice.
New architecture, new theme, new questing, new enemies, lots of new stuff.
Awesome.
Tons of passion from the team developing it. Everybody's super excited about it. I think it's going to be great.
Yeah, I agree.
I saw a screenshot this morning. Somebody's crossing a bridge into the zone and this giant vista in the background, and it's just really cool looking. I think Dan shared that actually this morning.
Yeah, that's a great vista of what? You'll see.
Yep. Joel, what are you excited about?
I'm excited for a couple things on the list. I'm really excited for being able to save my attributes into my gear sets. I'm really excited for gear set bonuses that we're going to have on new pieces of gear. It's going to allow us to really add new chases into different places in the world. Artifacts have been really successful. We think that we can add more of those into different pieces of gear as a whole collection. And that's really what leads into some of the in-game overhaul that we're looking at for progression. We want to make our chases across the board more meaningful and give you more ways to collect things across the board. So I'm excited to see what our team can do with those updates coupled together. I think
like a lot of content in New World doesn't feel rewarding. So like what he's saying is very good to hear, because I feel like that is one of the deeper issues of New World, is just like some pieces of content just don't feel like they're worth doing.
There'll be some fun stuff
from a reward standpoint.
The overhaul is really going to like kind of expand what we call in-game content, right? Because there's reasons to replay all this stuff, like get more horizontal progression, because that's what artifacts really are, right? It's because they're not. It's not just getting stronger. It's like, oh, this is like a new gameplay feature that I can add to my build. That now I can build something around that, right?
Yep. And with the improvement of gear sets, it's also going to be able to allow us to have more of that customization and on the demand by having our attributes saved across the board, and it gives you more flexibility much faster. And I think that's going to be really fun together.
Absolutely. All right, Tracy, last but not least.
All right.
What are you looking forward to?
I'm going to break the mold here. Everyone's talking about combat, PvP, PvE. I'm going to talk about crafting. I'm excited about global storage. It'll be very nice to not have to jump around everywhere to get all the mats I need. So,
amen.
That is totally fair.
Long overdue.
Absolutely. Well, that does it for us today. Thank you for joining us for the April Dev Update. We really appreciate you being here. And if you liked what you saw, make sure to like and subscribe to the channel. And we'll see you in Aeternum.
All right, well, yeah, I mean, as I said, sort of around when they showed the roadmap, it seems like a lot of the content it's like coming later on. So the actual Season 8 doesn't really have a lot. If I was to just go through, in fact, hold on, just give me a moment here. Here we go. So if I take a screenshot and then we just say, like, what is the actual content that's going to be there on day 1 of Season 8? So Outpost Rush map will be, this is not going to be here on day 1, I assume. This is not here on day 1. 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 This isn't here on day 1. And I don't think this is here on day 1 either. So yeah, realistically, we only have the barbershop. We have combat and PvP updates, we have artifacts, we have perks, and we have the new Outpost Rush map. So when you put it into perspective, the content that's actually going to be like permanently in the game for Season 8, it's not a lot, right? There's not a lot that's actually coming at the beginning of Season 8. It's sort of being staggered out. The question is, how long is the season going to last? There is one other thing I wanted to quickly take a look at. It's on the New World website, so we'll just do that real quick. So yeah, along with the video, there is also a post on the New World website. I'll put a link to this in the description down below. I did just take a quick read through it. There's not really too much extra stuff here. They do confirm that the new seasonal server is going to be in early June. So we'll have a few weeks of Season 8, yeah, because it's like halfway through May, and then we get to play on the hardcore seasonal world. They do say that you get bonus rewards if your character survives without dying, but if you do die, then you forfeit the ability to unlock the Unfallen rewards. Maybe that's just skins, I don't know, but your character will remain, your experience on the server will become easier, and then there's still plenty of other rewards. So exactly how that works, we'll have to, I don't know, wait for a more specific post. They don't actually say when the previews are going to be for the Outpost Rush stuff, so Capture the Flag, Outpost Rush Barebones preview, they don't say when they are. Yeah, we look forward to sharing more details about the new mode before our test events. Also the 3v3 arena, more of the same here with the Expeditions Unleashed and the Barbershop and stuff. They do talk about some of the new artifacts down here though. Also these skins are a bit, I don't know, very brightly colored. There is of course going to be a new season pass, an emote for touching grass, fantastic. And there's a look at some of the new skin stuff as well. That looks pretty cool actually, kind of like the look of that skin. So we have the Old Crown, plus 10 to attributes, comes with bonus gem functionality, whatever that means. This seems like it might just be another alternative to the Attuned Leather Pants with the plus 10 to all attributes. A shield that gives Team Aura healing and enhanced Team Armor Aura and enhanced healing, so it seems really good for a tank, along with another sword here. Increased threat and damage reduction on crits. Pretty good one-handed sword. There's a light chest that gives you lifesteal and mana synergy. So maybe good for Void Gauntlet, Void Blading, Chaos, launch enemies with fiery blast shots. We heard about that one. Heavy boots that give you a speed boost. Those already exist in the game. They're the Sandworm, the Sandworm speed boots. And then we have some gloves that give you empower as you use abilities. So yeah, some of these artifacts sound pretty cool. They're kind of vague descriptions, but I'm interested in that shield and also the one-handed sword as well. The threat and damage mitigation sounds pretty cool. Also, they do talk about some new potions. They didn't actually mention this in the video, but there are 5 new potions. A shield potion, grants damage reduction, lifesteal potion, increase the power of all lifesteal effects. How powerful is that, though? We don't know. The most interesting one, in my opinion, is the grip potion, which gives you the uninterruptible effect for the duration. That could be really, really strong, actually. I think there's quite a few people who would like to use that potion. So, yeah, once we actually get to play the season, or if we get any further details, we'll probably make a follow-up video to let you guys know. But that's a look at Season 8. My takeaway so far, just not really a whole lot of content, sadly. It is still looking pretty light on content. There isn't actually really that much there, you know, from day 1 of Season 8. So for me, likely we are going to also be jumping in and checking out some Dune or June Awakening. That doesn't come out until June, but we do have some videos with my impressions. I got a chance to play the game. We're going to be streaming some on Friday. So yeah, if you want to see some of my thoughts on another game outside of New World, Dune or June Awakening, make sure you subscribe for that. Video should be going up on Friday, the 25th of April. As always, guys, let me know what you're thinking about the current state of New World in those comments down below. Are you excited for this update? What do you think about the seasonal server? What do you think about the capture the flag game mode and the power-ups and the jump pads? Yeah, let me know in those comments down below. Subscribe for more, and I'll catch you guys all in the next video.